The chloroplast is going to be a plant-specific component. So what we mean is that this is something that you're going to find specifically in plant cells. In plant cells, this is going to be responsible for energy production through the process of photosynthesis. And so photosynthesis, different parts of it will occur in different locations within the chloroplast. So let's talk about the structure of the chloroplast a little bit more. The chloroplast is unique compared to a lot of other organelles that we have because it is going to actually have three membranes that compose it. And so if we point out those three membranes and where they're actually located at, we will have a membrane on the outside here that we refer to as the outer membrane. We will have another membrane that's just a little further in from that, and that's what we call the inner membrane. And then we have a third membrane that's going to surround all of these little discs that we see inside. And this membrane is going to be called the thylakoid membrane. And we refer to this as the thylakoid membrane because all of those little green discs themselves, so each one of them is going to be called a thylakoid. So the thylakoids will have a membrane around them. Now, because we have three membranes, we actually have three spaces or compartments as well, so however you want to call that. And so if we go through and we point out where those three compartments are located at, I'm just going to draw that in a different color here. We've got one in between the inner and the outer membrane, and we're going to call this the intermembrane space. We've got this area right here, which is going to be called the stroma. And then there's also areas inside of the thylakoids, and these are going to be called the thylakoid spaces, or you could also refer to it as the thylakoid lumen. Okay, so both of those terms would be comparable to each other. In addition to that, we have other unique characteristics that go along with the chloroplast. The chloroplast is going to have some of its own DNA, and this DNA is going to be somewhat similar to what you would find in a prokaryotic cell because this is going to be small but circular chromosomes. And so again, that's the type of DNA shape that we would have inside the prokaryotic cells. If we draw it in here, the DNA is going to be located in the stroma. So we'll have multiple circles of DNA in the stroma. So I'm just drawing several of them in there. And then in addition to that, not only do we have our own DNA, but we also have our own ribosomes in there. And because we have kind of individual ribosomes inside, that means that the chloroplast is going to be able to produce some of its own proteins kind of in-house. So if I just draw some ribosomes, those ribosomes are also going to be located in the stroma. They're with the little DNA circles. So I'm putting a lot of ribosomes inside. So that's the general structure of the chloroplast. If we just point out a few other terms that you might see places, there is a name for this stack of thylakoids. And when we are referring to a stack of thylakoids, if I just draw it over here, the stack is going to be called granum. Or if we're looking at them plural, we would call this grana. Okay, so grana or granum is just referring to a stack of thylakoids. If you're talking about photosynthesis, different parts of photosynthesis will occur in the thylakoids, different things in the lumen versus the thylakoid membrane, and we'll also have different reactions taking place in the stroma.